Know this. Introducing the original Blood Clot podcast, not players. Soothing semantic. Special dedication. All the way from New York. Boom. Yeah, man. SWOT semantic. Yeah, me know. Boom. Soothing semantic. Yeah, me know. Big ups to the man now. Soothing semantic.
Welcome to the Soothing Semantics podcast. I am your host, Rafi Pinsky. Make sure to subscribe, like, share, leave a comment. Check out all platforms, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and all the other major audio platforms. Today, we have a very, very special guest, Ken Joslin. How's it going, brother?
What's up, my friend? Glad to be here. Honored to be here, man.
Took some time, took a little bit of follow-up, but finally we had you on, huh?
Oh yeah, man. A little busy. It's been a really, really cool season of life. And I'm down here for 10X boot camp with Uncle G Grant Cardone himself, and it was really cool just to be able to get over here and spend some time with you, man. Hear a little bit of your story and what you've got going on in your podcast, man.
Absolutely. Yeah, the podcast has been going on for a year. I mean, I really want to keep the focus on you. Well, absolutely. We can get into my side as well. So long story short, guys, Ken is a realtor in Georgia, and he's got a team. He's a speaker. He knows some very influential people like himself. And what's the conference? Let everyone know about the conference that's coming up with you.
Yeah, so we've got our next GSD boot camp. GSD is Grow Stack Drive. It's a coaching and consulting company I started about a year and a half ago. We are probably going to do close to 7 figures this year in that. We do several different things. Number one, we help business professionals and business leaders build confidence, gain clarity, and create community. We really believe those 3 things. The confidence part, confidence is currency. We spend it every day in every decision we make and in every relationship we build. Probably what I see in most people is the confidence is lacking, and confidence is huge. So confidence, clarity, help people gain clarity by using proven strategies, and then build community. I spent half of the last 25 years in full-time vocational ministry, planting churches, pastoring churches. So community's huge. Relationships are huge. So with that being said, one of the things we do is we do live events. So we've got our next boot camp coming up in Las Vegas at Lightspeed headquarters, home of my good friend Brad Lee. So I've got Brad speaking, guys like Dave Meltzer, Josh York. Josh is Inc. 150. He is the fastest growing personal fitness training brand in the world. On track to be $1 billion valuation for his company. I got Josh coming in, Anthony Trucks. Anthony just spoke this week for Russell at Funnel Hackers. An unbelievable lineup. Dude, we got 15 world-class entrepreneurs coming into Vegas, and we're 5-6 days away. We've got about 5 or 6 tickets left. And
it's amazing.
Will be sold out, yeah.
So guys, make sure to sign up if you haven't. I'm also having Brian Bogart. Familiar with him?
Oh, that's
you know
boy.
each other.
Brian's speaking. Brian will be out there.
I thought he was.
Yeah,
I was going to ask. I thought he was.
Yep.
So yeah, I reached out to him. We're doing it virtually, but
Nice.
I saw him doing a podcast with Brad recently. Loved what he had to say.
Oh, Brian's my guy. Yeah. So
Brian
is. So Brian's out there. He's they're speaking in Colorado. Him and Nate. So Nate is one of my best friends. He worked for John Maxwell for years. We've known each other for about 20 years. So Nate's working with Brian some as well. They're both speaking in Colorado this week at an event. But yeah, Brian's phenomenal, dude. He's been at every one of my boot camps. I've done
awesome.
4. And he spoke at every one of them.
Yeah, just the attitude he has about things and the way he uses language to change the way you think. I like that. I'm a big fan of that.
He's brilliant.
So, how did you get into going from? Give us the whole backstory, because you were a pastor, you were a realtor.
Yeah.
How did that kind of go about? What were you doing in the earlier years?
Yeah, so I spent 25 out of the last 25 years, half of that in full-time vocational ministry, half of that in real estate. So I was in ministry from about 1996 to about 2001. Full-time youth ministry, grew a youth ministry from a handful of kids to several hundred. I was one of the top youth pastors in the country, had my own conference, spoke at several conferences, spoke with guys like John Maxwell and different people like that at those kind of conferences. Did that, and then was traveling with a friend of mine doing motivational high school assemblies around the country, played a little bit in the NBA, played overseas. We spoke to 330,000 kids in 1 year. So I literally was gone. I was on the road all the time. I did that for a year, came home one time, And my wife at the time goes, "Hey, we can't keep doing this." Had a baby at home, so transitioned, went into mortgages with a really good friend of mine in Atlanta, and quickly rose the ranks and became his number one LO. And I worked for him for 2 to 2.5 years. Got my own broker's license and started Essential Mortgage. And 4 years in a row, we were the number one wholesaler for SunTrust and Countrywide.
Wow.
So we were doing about $80 million a year total.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So what made you take the switch over to being a realtor?
So back into ministry again about 2009, 2010, right after the housing crash. Planted a church. We did that for 6 years. Grew it to a few hundred people as well. And when I got out this time, the real estate business, as a mortgage guy, you make fun of real estate people because the mortgage guys get 1%, maybe 2%. The realtors are always walking away with 3%. And it seems like they work a lot less hard than we did. And I didn't really want to do. I had an office. I had 2 offices at one time in when I was a mortgage broker, 14 LOs. So I had a huge team, and I just didn't really want to do that. And I've bought and sold, flipped rental properties for past 20 years. So I know that side really well, and I know a lot of people in the Atlanta area. So real estate wasn't easy for me.
Just made sense.
Yep.
Okay. So do you primarily do that now, where you kind of you have your team? I'm sure you're very much involved, but now you kind of have the speaking. You're on the speaking end of things. I imagine.
So on the real estate side, the real estate doesn't get me out of bed in the morning. I don't get up in the morning and go, "Woo, can't wait to go do real estate." But what I do get excited about is building my team and helping the agents on my team, whether they be in Atlanta or Birmingham, helping them make money. Really, one of my goals, and I mentioned Grant Cardone earlier. I'm a Grant Cardone licensee. I met Grant 2 years ago. Next month will be 2 years. And one of the conversations, we had a one-on-one conversation that day, I told him was, I was here at 10X Boot Camp to blow the lid off my mindset of what's a lot of money, number one. Number two, I wanted to scale my real estate team because I wanted to give people an opportunity that had never made 6 figures in their life to be able to do it on their time. Because really, when you're in real estate and you're an agent, and you're dealing with residential commercial, you own your own business. I mean, you are a 1099, you are a business owner. And I wanted to be able to help guys. I've got one guy who works for me now in Georgia. He's closed 4 or 5 deals in 2 months, 2.5 months. He's made $15,000. He's a full-time accountant, and he pastors the church. He's a church planner.
He closed 4 or 5 deals and made $15,000 for 4 or 5 deals.
Yeah, in what, 2 months, 2.5 months. He's closed 4 deals. So a lot of those deals are deals I hand. So when I get my deals in, I just hand them to my agents.
So how do you work that out split-wise? I'm very curious.
So what we do is, we're with EXP, obviously. So we're with EXP. It's an 80-20 split up to, I think it's 16,000. So EXP gets their 20%, and then what's left over.
Give the cap.
If it's a deal I hand it, yes. If it's a deal I hand him, we split that 50-50. If it's his deal, he gets 70, I get 30.
So these must have been smaller size deals.
It's not South Florida, so our deals are 250s to 350s.
Okay. Okay. Because there's, they're astronomical deals here, but
a
lot. The average is 10, 15K here.
Yeah. No, that's not the way it is.
And you do 6% or you do less?
Yeah, 6% normally. 3 on each side. 3 for buyers, 3 for listings.
I'm from New York, and the average. I have a very good buddy in real estate there.
Yeah.
They're doing 3% for both sides.
Oh, really?
1.5.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah, no, I don't have. Again, real estate doesn't get me out of bed in the morning. So
how come? I'm curious.
I love helping people, and you can help people on the real estate side. You can help people, find the home of their dreams or whatever tagline you want to have for your agency. That part of it's fun because it is the biggest decision people make usually in their life is buying a home. But for me, helping business owners build confidence, gain clarity, create community, helping them watching that aha moment, that light bulb moment where it clicks for them, and then watching their business grow. I've got my sales guys here with me today. I hired him 6 weeks ago. He's been in my GSD community now for about a little bit over a year. Younger cat, just living with his baby mama, 2 kids, Verizon rep, smoking a little weed from time to time. And in the past year, dude, not smoking weed, got married, became the number 1 Verizon rep in the state of New York several weeks in a row. I mean, he was just crushing it.
Wow.
Just walking through our community and everything that he was learning and gaining there. And then when it came time to I need a sales guy to start my sales team, where better to look than somebody that's been in my community for, 16 months and has had a complete transformation. Another one of the guys that's here in Miami, my buddy Charlie Wetworth, he's from Charleston, South Carolina. Charlie's been with me since the beginning of February of this year, so 9 months. Lost 65 pounds. He works for he's an HVAC contractor. His sales have almost tripled this year, just by literally using my planner that we have and the way that one of our core values is called focus, and it's how we dominate our calendar. Usually, just using my calendar strategy, it's absolutely transformed his life.
So I can see how beneficial that is for you. I mean, you just see people.
Oh, I love it.
Start. That's extremely.
Dude, I love it, man.
I cannot wait to share my real estate knowledge, business knowledge in general. I'm young. I mean, I share whatever I do know, whatever's worked for me. In the short amount of time I've been here on this planet, 27 years isn't that long. Thank God I've accumulated a lot of knowledge. So the more credibility I can attain, the more credentials I have, the more successful I am. I look forward to that. I just can't wait to help people. Even now, whatever I can do, I do, and it's awesome. So I see what Brad even talks about. You see the comments and what people say. I mean, they say, "You've changed my life, man. You've given me this, you've given me that."
One of the things we talk about a lot. I was in the first time I ever got featured in a big event was in Michigan in like 99, 2000. One of my mentors. I mean, I say big. It's a big event. 70,000 students in the Silverdome at Pontiac, Michigan. They did the leadership part of it. Did the leadership part of it at the Palace at Auburn Hills. There's about 8,000 people there, 9,000 people. And so I'm featured between John. John takes the stage. I take the stage, and then Jeannie, who was one of my mentors, takes the stage. The next day, I mean, I'm 31 years old at the time, probably. The next day, I go to lunch with Jeannie, and she looks at me at lunch, and she goes, "Let me ask you a question." She goes, "Do you want to be significant or do you want to be successful?" Because those are two vastly different things. And I looked at her, and I was smart enough to say significant. I didn't know exactly what she was talking about. But she walked me through, and that's been something 20 years ago that's literally changed my focus on how I live my life. Significant leaders build others around them and help them win at levels they've never won at before. People who chase only success use people around them to lift themselves up. Wow. Two different types of leaders. And when GD and I had that conversation, it's been a 20-year journey for me trying to figure that success versus significance.
That's a huge aha moment for me, man.
Oh, dude! It's so
wow.
That's one of the main things that we focus on is significance over success. People over profits. You've heard that before, but really, do I want to live a life of significance or do I want to chase success? If you start out to live a life of significance, you're always going to be successful. Always. Success can't escape you. If you start out to be successful and you use people around you, you're probably never going to be significant, and you're probably going to leave a trail of damage behind you.
Wow, that's great advice. I feel like it's the way the law of nature works.
It's sowing and reaping, man.
Right, for sure. Yeah, that means so much. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna take that. It's so true. I've realized that a lot in the past few years. Mm-hmm. So, as a new realtor, and I ask this question to a lot of the realtors I have on, what are some of the keys you feel for any realtor in any market that someone must have, especially when they're starting out?
Relationships. Business, I don't care if you're in real estate. I don't care if you're in coaching and consulting like I am with Grow Stack Drive. It's always about relationships. And you've got to have some relational IQ on how to build relationships. There's a couple things that I'll mention. People want to be in rooms with people who want something for them, not from them. So even as a realtor, I'm not going in to help a client so I can make a 3% commission or make X, whatever the dollar amount is. That's not what I'm doing. I'm there to help them. I'm there to add value to what they're doing, what their family needs. Where do you want to be at? Where do you see your family being in 3 years or 5 years, whether we're buying, selling, whatever that looks like? I'm there to add value to them. I'm there because I want something for them, not something from them. So I think the relationship part is huge. You've got to have a circle. You've got to get out and promote. And I literally just walked out of a session with Grant Cardone where he's talking about promote. He's doing the whole thing. And then you've got to if people don't know you, again, another Uncle G, if they don't know you, they can't flow you. You've got to get out. People need to know who you are. Significant leaders do several things. Number one, they want something for people, not from people. Another thing is they're constantly adding value. So if you're saying, I don't have a big sphere of influence or relationship, I would ask you this question. Are you adding value to people on a consistent basis? And it's super easy. Send text messages. One of the hacks that I do every day, I've done this for years. Every day I go on Facebook. I bet I don't miss 5 days a year. I go on Facebook. I pull my birthday list up. I'm capped. I've got 5,000 friends on Facebook. So every day I have 20 to 25 to 30, sometimes even more than that, people whose birthday is that day. I have a shortcut on my phone. HB space spells out happy birthday, ... exclamation point. I mean, I have a shortcut on my phone because I do it so much. But everybody that's on my Facebook friends list, if it's their birthday, they get a happy birthday from me. I send out 3 to 4 handwritten thank you cards every day. Constantly doing things, staying in front of people because it's top of mind marketing. If you're at the top of their mind when they're thinking about doing,
they're going to you.
That's exactly, they're going to come to you.
Absolutely. So this is already something I'm implementing, and I'm learning different things as I go. So since I'm Jewish, I send like a happy Sabbath a week. We say Shabbat Shalom. I'm sure you've heard of that before. So I send that out every single Friday to a group of people on WhatsApp. They each get an individual message, but they know that they're getting that message every single Friday. Birthdays as well. I'll make sure in Google Calendar I have every single client's birthday. When it's their birthday, I send them that message. I've sent thank you cards. Have to be more consistent with that, but it's such a noticeable difference.
Listen, handwritten thank you cards, guys. It has such a touch because not a lot of people do handwritten thank you cards. I don't have time. Listen, if you're on the phone at your desk or you're at work and you're on hold, grab 3 or 4, write them out, leave the name blank, write them out, put them on your desk somewhere. So when you do think about somebody or you have some time or somebody comes to your mind or you've got a client that pops up on an email, you can always write Mike. And then all you do is shut it, seal it, put an address on it, and drop it off in the mailbox, and it's done.
Right. And I guess if it's more of a personal happy birthday message, like,
right.
Happy birthday, Mike, you asshole, blah, blah, blah.
Right, yeah, I love that. Yeah, most definitely. So how are you adding value to people? Are you doing it by Facebook? Facebook birthdays, super simple. Handwritten thank you cards, super simple. I ask people this question a lot. When you walk into a room of people, do they gravitate towards you or away from you? Do they want to be around you? Are you what I call life-giving? Like when you go into a room and you're building relationships or you know people in the room, do people want to be around you? Do they want to spend time? When somebody calls you and they see your phone number on their phone, do they go, Or do they grab the phone and go, oh, I can't wait to talk to this guy? Because every time I talk to him, I feel better about he imparts something into me every time.
I saw some. Didn't Brad talk about this the other day?
Oh, he may have. I don't know. I don't listen to Brad. He's a punk.
You heard that? That's so true, though. There are people that when they call me, I'm like, oh, damn it.
Aren't they right? Like, you don't want to answer the phone call.
Because either they're gonna have an hour conversation with me about absolutely nothing, or I mean that's really what it is. It's just and often they're nice people, right? Mm-hmm. It's just a matter of I want to get somewhere with the conversation. So it's interesting. Why do you feel that you brought up a very good point that I wanted to delve into, the idea of understanding different personalities and being able to naturally have people gravitate towards you. Right. I think some people, and I think you would agree with this, some people naturally have that, where obviously there's always needs to be development in that sphere, but some people really don't. Some people do not do well with other people.
Yeah, I mean, some people are just a little socially awkward, but I'm telling you, you can still work on that. And it may not be the same tools that you put in your tool belt that somebody who's I don't ever meet a stranger. So it's easy for me to have conversations. If somebody's a little introvert or whatever, use a different tool. Do something else. Send a text message. Shoot a phone call.
I can say very proudly, am I the most sociable, communicative guy in the world? Obviously, there's always going to be someone more, but I'm definitely a very, very communicative, outgoing guy. Make relationships very easily.
Yeah.
So, and that's something I've developed, but I've had it even from a young age. I think a lot. I think I get a lot of it from my grandmother, truthfully, who raised me. She can make friends with a tree. She's just, and I don't. But the funny thing is, I don't really give a shit if someone doesn't like me, so long as I feel like I'm being myself and I didn't do anything specifically to harm them.
As long as you're being true to who you are,
sure,
and you know you're being who you are. There are two types of people. There are thermostats and there are thermometers. Thermometers only gauge the temperature of the room. Thermostats have the ability to be able to walk into a room and change that temperature and make it whatever they want. So they can walk in a room and change the entire culture and climate of a room.
It's so powerful.
Dude, when people, when you get around, Brad's one of those guys.
Of course.
I remember the first time I spent the whole day with him. And he's just so gregarious and he's funny and he makes people feel warm and welcome and inviting. And I'm like, dude, so I was out there, a month and a half ago shooting some video in Vegas for my upcoming boot camp. We sat downstairs in Brad's little green room and chopped it up for probably 3.5 hours. Sat on the couch just like.
And it probably went in 20. You felt like it was going in 20 minutes.
We had a blast, man. We absolutely. But it's just, you want to be around those kind of people who are thermostats that literally can't, and you can become that kind of person if you're not. You always, and people go, how to do that? Couple ways. Number one, be interested before you're interesting. Like, don't walk into people you don't know and start telling them what you do. I don't care how successful you are. What you do, where you're from, what you've got going on, what kind of watch you got, what kind of car you got. No, be interested in what they're doing.
Can I quickly interject?
Yeah.
I think largely, and with human nature, even if you are kind of a big deal, people prefer to find out on their own as opposed to you telling them, because it loses its sauce.
That's exactly.
If you have a beautiful Lambo parked outside of the conference, and you're like, I have a Lambo outside. Everyone's like, great, man, now you're a douche.
That's my blue Urus sitting outside the Turnberry, like the one we saw just a minute ago.
If you just if you walk outside casually, you were a gentleman, you were confident but modest. You weren't some and you walk out and you turn on the Urus, everyone's like, oh wow, man, nice car, and you're like, yeah, man, thanks, appreciate that.
Yeah, I went to dinner with a friend of mine the other night, and she tried to pull out her credit card. We were having a conversation. She pulled her credit. It was a Black American Express card. And I've only seen about 3 of those in my entire life. And I was like, I looked at it and I went, oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah.
And because it's just not something you see, but it wasn't in any way. And I knew what it was.
Yeah.
And she was just nonchalant, just handing it to the server. And I said, girl, is that a Black American Express card? And she was just kind of, oh, no, kind of played it off. But those are the kind of people you want to be.
That's what I'm saying, right? Because if she would have been like, look at my fancy, and she put it in your face and she said, you know how much money I can spend on this? You'd be like, Yeah,
that'd be infinite. They don't have a limit.
But it's such an accurate point. It's so spot on. So what are some other things? Because I very much like this conversation. What are some other things that you feel people need to have? Because in any business, being able to create a surrounding, a community is so important.
Well, community's huge, and I tell you, there are 3 types of relationships that everybody needs, and I talk about this a lot. Relationships, spheres of influence, whatever you want to call them. Number one's community. And the community is that Seth Godin wrote a book called Tribes. It's that tribe. It's that I'm here at 10X Boot Camp with Grant. There's, 500-600 people here for the couple days doing the business boot camp with Grant. Like 10X it is a community. It's a tribe. My Growth Stack Drive is a community. It's a tribe of people. You need a community of people who are like-minded, who have the same DNA, who are chasing the same dreams and goals you are. So you've got your community, you've got your circle. Your circle are the 10 to 12 people you spend the most time with. Those are the guys you're hanging out with all the time. They know what's going on in your life. And you've heard it said, you're the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Well, inside that circle, you're going to have your corner, which is like the 1 or 2 people that need to have a 10,000-foot view of what's going on in your life. Like, they need to know the junk. They need to be the ones that can call you out on your nonsense and hold you accountable. So I think those 3 relationship spheres, the community, circle, and corner, absolutely huge. If you can get those things nailed down, man, you can do a lot of really, really, really cool things in business and in life.
I completely agree. Yeah, the people you surround yourself with are so it's such a clear has such a clear effect. I also notice that a decent amount of people have a very hard time with constructive criticism. So a friend is real if they can call you out on your bullshit.
Right. I just talked about feedback this week. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna pull my notes up right here a little bit. Feedback is so huge. Ken Blanchard says this. He's a New York Times bestselling author. Feedback is the breakfast of champions. So let me ask you a question. Why don't we ask for feedback? Why do you think we don't ask for feedback?
When you say feedback, you mean constructive criticism?
Yeah, feedback. It's
I
feedback.
honestly do that. I don't say I definitely don't do it all the time.
I know you might do that, but you've got your own podcast. You're building a business.
I like when people, as long as it comes from a good place and the person has credibility. So, for instance, with my podcast, real quick, if someone who's never done content, never done a podcast, they start giving me criticism, I'll listen to it.
Right.
But I'll take it with a very large grain of salt. I'll be like, I'll even tell them, and I tell them respectfully, quite frankly, you've never done any of this in your life. You don't really have any knowledge on this.
Right.
You might not be wrong. You might have a good point, but I'm going to go to somebody that's actually done it and who's done well at it, because I'm taking advice from someone who doesn't have the experience.
Right.
And they take it well, as long as I articulate that in a respectful way, and I'm not like, shut up, asshole.
My friends Greg Reed and Sharon Lecter wrote in the 3 Feet from Gold book together. Sharon's the co-author of Rich Dad Poor Dad. They wrote in that book the difference between advice and counsel. Advice is getting somebody commenting on whatever it is, like you just said, podcast, who's never done what you're doing. Counsel would come from somebody who's a big podcaster. Be like Brad giving you feedback, or Lewis Howes giving you feedback, or Jay, or one of those guys giving you feedback. This is what they do. They can give you great feedback.
I would love that. I would be all ears.
People don't ask for feedback is because it stings a lot of times when you get it.
Sure.
And I think you have to determine, what do I want to do? Do I want to grow? We've got 5 core values at GSD: passion, focus, intentionality, teachability, flexibility. Teachability is our 4th core value. And we're not only open to feedback, but we actively pursue feedback. We're constantly going after, who do I know, who do I have in my circle that I can go to and ask feedback? I heard Lewis Howes say, these are 3 questions that I heard this on his podcast the other day. And I wrote these 3 questions down. I absolutely love this. What's the one thing you noticed from afar that I could be doing better? Second question was, what's the one thing that if I didn't do it, everything would improve? The third one is, what's the one thing I'm lacking? He's like, I ask those 3 questions to just about everybody that I have a relationship with, because I need their input. We have blind spots. We can't see what we talked about just a while ago. We don't know what we don't know.
100%.
So those things are huge. I think the feedback loop is huge. We've got to open ourselves up. One of the things I talked about the other day was understanding. When we understand, we have a proper perspective of our personal growth versus our personal worth. When you know those 2 things are 2 totally separate things, your personal growth is not your personal worth. Like your self-worth and your identity and how you see yourself doesn't have anything to do with your personal growth. Your personal growth is, I'll take sting. When you go to the gym, obviously you've been in the gym before. When you get in the gym, dude, it hurts. As a matter of fact, I'm leaving here in just a few minutes. We're going straight to F45. I'm going to get a workout in. I'm going to bust my tail. I mean, I'm down 70 pounds, day 90 whatever of keto. I love it. But
keto's good, huh?
Oh, I love it, dude. I'm day 90 something, and I've got more. I literally feel like I'm running through a wall.
Amazing.
I told him, I said, I got tiger blood. Like Robert Downey Jr. said that one time.
You can't say that without your drawl.
I got tiger blood. No, but I feel great. Keto's been great, but you know, it's the feedback part of growing as a leader. Like, really part of building confidence is getting feedback from the right people. You said it just a minute ago. You also have to understand that not all feedback is true.
100%.
You also have to understand that when somebody gives you feedback, you have to see what lens that they're giving you feedback through.
I completely know what you're talking about. If you're getting advice from 50 people, 50 friends, You have to determine where that comes from. There are people who might be giving you advice because they want to keep you down. There might be people might be giving you advice that's blatantly wrong. There has to be this sort of radar for understanding, does this person actually care about me? Are they saying something that comes from a good place? Do they have any knowledge on the subject to even give me any feedback? There's just a lot. And I think people, so even when people go to make a decision, there are certain people, I think, not with every decision, but with certain decisions, sometimes it's good to consult with someone who may know better, oftentimes. I find that there are people who will ask 50 different people about this decision they need to make, and 50 people will give 50 different opinions.
Right.
And then what do you do?
Well, number one, you went to the wrong people. You probably went to the wrong people. Don't go to 50, go to 3 or go to 2. That needs to be your corner.
100%.
Like, who's in your corner? Who knows you? Who's for you? I've got Nate's, I said Nate worked for John Maxwell for a long time. We've been friends for a long time. He's probably one of my best friends right now. We was on a call the other day, and I was talking to a guy. We had a little bit of a disagreement, and I hung up the phone. Nate, I'm standing in Nate's kitchen in Atlanta, and he's sitting over on the couch. He looks at me and goes, "Dude, you're a dick." He goes, "You need to call back and apologize." He goes, this is what he said. He goes, "Dude, you're being a dick." And he goes, "And that's not the Ken that I know." And I was like, oh. And I knew he was right. Literally picked the phone back up and called and went, "Hey, man, I'm sorry. I was being an ass, and that was wrong for me to do that. Will you forgive me?" Sometimes we got to have people that are going to give us the feedback that we need.
100%.
Yeah.
Those are the real friends.
Yes.
People are going to tell you that those pants look fucking stupid.
Yep.
Exactly
right.
I am very much that friend. I
Yeah.
can say that very proudly.
Yeah.
And I really can't become close to someone who isn't like that.
Yeah.
If you're going to sugarcoat things for me, if you're going to be too nice, I can handle it. Tell me what's up, man. If you think, so it's, I very much agree with that.
Yeah. And let me say this. When we're talking about feedback, the best time to ask for feedback is when you're winning, because it doesn't sting as bad. When you're winning and things, you got momentum. Like John Maxwell says, momentum is a leader's best friend. When you're winning, that's the best time to get feedback, because you're like, oh yeah, okay, we're winning. Okay, yeah, I can see where we need to work on this. Okay, well, let's work on this. But when you're stuck, dude, it's hard, man. It's so hard to be able to it's hard to receive feedback when things aren't going well.
Because you feel like maybe there's just so much weight on you, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, when you don't have momentum, even the possible seems impossible. When you have momentum, the impossible seems possible. Like I was telling Jerry Glant yesterday, we were in the room yesterday, and I mean, this is the first 10X event I've been since GrowthCon, first boot camp in a long time. I've been so busy doing our own thing, doing my own events, building Grow Stack Drive, that I've just been I've been pouring out. I told Jared yesterday, we were getting ready to come back from the lunch break. And I walked up to him, he was on stage, and he was talking to me, and I was like, dude, it's just so refreshing to be in the room of 500 to 600 10Xers who are going after it. It's just so, because you look around and you're going, oh, I'm not crazy. I'm good. But if you don't have momentum, dude, it's, when you don't have momentum, the possible seems impossible.
Sure. Makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm.
I think about momentum when it comes to both real estate and the podcast. Both are new. Both have not given me anywhere near the kind of significance or success that I'm looking for. Mm-hmm. So
Kitty said, I want to be on the podcast.
She did this on the last podcast.
Did she?
Yeah, my grandmother, unfortunately, just to give you the scoop,
Yeah.
I love animals. I love, cats and dogs. Definitely more of a dog person, but I grew up with her because my grandmother raised me. So we got her when I was 14. She's about 13 and a half now.
Wow.
My grandmother, unfortunately, has dementia as of recently, a few months ago. So she's still in New York, but there was no one to look after her. And I knew that no one would really want to adopt an old cat.
Right.
So I said, I'm not letting her be put down. If we gave her to a shelter, they'd probably put her down. So she's perfectly healthy.
Yeah.
So I said, you know what,
Bring her to
I'm
me.
going to take her.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. I'm definitely I want to definitely get one of those big dogs. The military kind of dogs? Mm-hmm. They look like German Shepherds.
Yeah.
So that's my dog of choice. I can't wait to get one of those.
Yeah, we've always had American Bulldogs, so.
Nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've covered a hell of a lot of ground.
Yeah.
If there's anything you want to talk to the
anything
the
specific that you're talking about or that you normally hit on every week? Do you have something specific that you talk about?
There's no specific conversation. There are things that I definitely talk about fairly often. I love discussions about relationships, proximity, being able to say no to people, being able to keep your circle small, being able to focus. There's so many of these conversations. Consistency, one of my favorite things, the law of attraction, manifestation. There's there's so many different rules to getting what you want, and I know you're older than I am in many respects.
I'm a lot older than you are. I'm not just older than you are. I'm a lot. How old do you think I am?
52.
53. That's good though. Nobody ever guesses 50. Everybody's like 40.
I wouldn't have said it only because you made the statement.
Right? Yeah.
So
when I say that, people are like, "That's when they're like 50," and I'm like 53.
Okay.
So
you're not old though.
No,
you might feel that way.
I feel better than I have in 30 years, man.
Well,
on keto, it's been unbelievable.
Yeah, keto's great, man.
Huge shout out to Gary Brecka and Tara Garrison for the keto. So Gary is he's a local. He's a biologist. He's a biohacking machine. He lives here in the Porsche Tower, right down here.
Have you been
to Gary's house?
Have you been to the Porsche Tower?
Oh yeah.
Dude,
yeah,
that
Gary
place is wild.
Oh, dude, Gary's Bentley is like right outside his thing, and he comes and gets a car and takes you down. I've been in it.
You don't have to go in the rain if you forgot your.
No, it's
you
crazy.
Forgot something in the trunk. You just walk to your.
Oh, it's nice. You just walk. You walk. It's like walking into a regular garage, and then you push the button, and boom, they pick your car up, take you, put you in the elevator, and you crank the car up when you get down, and you just drive right outside the building.
It's amazing.
No, it's really cool. Yeah. So Gary Brecka he works with Grant and Brandon them very closely. They're doing a new 10X Health vertical. And so Gary works with a lot of the A-listers. David Beckham.
Really?
Grant.
Beckham has a place, not in the Porsche, in the 1000 Museum, if you're familiar with the 1000 Museum. It's one of these big buildings. Grant's in great shape, man. He's got some years on you.
63. He's 10 years older than I am. I was talking to him today. He's 63. And if you ever look at a picture of him and his twin, he looks 15 years younger than Gary, his brother.
Really?
Yeah,
what does Gary do? I've never heard of him.
I mean, I'm not sure what Grant's brother does. I've met him before. He looks just like Grant. They're both about 5'5", and they look almost exact. Except Grant's a little jacked. He's a little buff.
Yeah.
But Gary does.
Grant's in great shape, man. He's in better shape than a lot of people my age, man.
Yeah. He's fantastic, and he's worked really hard to get there. But he does a lot of the stuff with Gary, the NAD Plus IVs, the exosome treatment, stem cells. All the facial stuff with the microabrasion with the stem cells, and so he looks like $1 million, man.
Yep, and he's got his brain's going strong. He's hustling. He's
oh, dude, he's a beast, dude.
Yeah,
he is.
I look forward to meeting him. I'm his neighbor.
Yeah.
So, hopefully, I have my coach, my real estate coach, Aaron Novello. Shout out to you, sir. Phenomenal realtor, phenomenal coach. He invests with Grant.
So
he knows Ryan.
Yep.
And
Ryan's
Grant.
a buddy of mine too. Yep.
Yeah, so that's the story.
I just thought I hadn't seen Ryan all weekend.
You saw him what? You
I
haven't
have
seen
not
him all
weekend.
weekend? Could be flying a plane somewhere, helicopter.
Yeah, I know he's probably going to be flying because they're doing a fundraiser tonight at Grant's, a $25,000 super VIP ticket or whatever. I think it's super VIP for the event I'm at right now, and that's dinner at Grant's and a ride in the helicopter. So, but he doesn't fly the helicopter. He's only ready to fly the jet. So,
very interesting. Very interesting. Okay, well, Ken, we've had quite a hell of a discussion.
Yeah, dude, had a blast,
very
man.
much. Thank you for the value you brought me. I love what you said about significance for success.
It's huge,
Never
dude.
heard that before, and it's means a lot.
I do have how long before the podcast gets going?
So I have I do it every Sunday, 9 a.m. Eastern.
Okay.
They come out. I have a real estate investor coming out tomorrow. It's already done, but it's coming out tomorrow. The next week, I also have one, so you're going to be out in 3 weeks.
Perfect. My book is getting released in about 2.5 weeks.
Yes, sir.
It's called As the Leader Grows. You can go to Amazon and grab it. As the Leader Grows. So it's going to be astheleadergrows.com, or you can go to growstackdrive.com/book.
I can pop all these up.
Yeah,
my editor will put all the.
The whole book is about building confidence, gaining clarity, and creating community.
Yeah, your social media links, I'll pop open everything.
It's super simple.
All right, guys, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, leave a comment, and make sure to check out Ken's content. Take a look at the conference that he's setting up that will be very shortly. There's only a couple of tickets left. Thanks again for coming on, brother. Much appreciated.
Dude, I appreciate you, my friend. Thank you for having me.